Promise that you sing about me forever. Promise that you sing about me forever. Promise that you sing about me forever.
This video is going to be a little bit off rip, off dome, and it is basically the importance of taking personal time out. Now, we all live busy lives, whether it's a 9 to 5, whether it's housewife, whether it's struggling entrepreneur, whatever. We're always doing something, we're always caught up in doing something. And for me right now, as you know, I'm in the process of self publishing my first book titled Memoirs of a Forgotten Child. If you've been on this channel, then you know. And if you don't know, surprise, I'm in the process of self publishing my first book titled Memoirs of a Forgotten Child. And I made a blog recently, I would say Sunday, and it was about, taking personal time to take care of yourself. If you didn't know, I'm a blogger and I write daily blogs. Please check them out. They are bomb.
If I do say so myself.
And my blogs are on my website, www.visme.com. And subscribe. Now, if you don't really know my story, which you probably don't, I dropped out of high school when I was 16. And it wasn't really a decision of, oh, I just don't feel like going to school. It was just a whole lot of drama going on in my personal life where it was just like, I just rather just get my GED. And ever since I getting my GED, which is crazy because though I didn't plan for it, it actually happened perfectly for me. I remember when it came to reading, I got my test scores, and this woman who was the instructor for holding the GED, she was like looking at me amazed, like, you got a 99% on your test. And I'm just like, okay, lady, from what I heard, I'm getting my GED, and no one really celebrates that. People look at you like you're the lowest piece of shit because you were born in this country, and your ass is getting a fucking GED. Your ass should have gotten a high school diploma. Like, you two gas, whereas I'm feeling like the lowest piece of shit ever. And she's like, do you understand? And I'm like, yeah, I got a 99%. She's like, in a room full of 100 people, only one person would have gotten a better score than you. And I'm like, okay. And ever since that experience getting my GED, I've always wanted to bury myself in academics just to prove that I didn't drop out of high school because I was dumb or high school was just so grueling and I just wasn't a studious student. It was more like I just had too much drama on my plate. And school didn't necessarily fall to the wayside, but life just disconnected me from going to school. And it's not like I didn't like school. It wasn't like I was way behind. It wasn't like the topics were so grueling and my brain couldn't somehow formulate what was going on. It was more like the stress level was taking me overboard. And it really had nothing to really do with school. Of course, the typical spats and whatnot, but it was more so my home life. And ever since then, I was trying to prove to my family, coming from a Haitian background, I'm not this imbecile. I'm not this retard. I'm not this handicap. I'm not this failure that you perceive me to be. So right after getting my GED, I went to college. And college is an experience. It wasn't hard. It wasn't the best experience. It wasn't the worst experience. But I did that to prove to other people that, I'm not as bad as you think I am. I'm in college. And I graduated. I got my bachelor's in psychology. I enjoyed my experience. I call it the most expensive therapy session because it was more like a therapy session than actually going to school. I spent a lot of time figuring out myself and my past and why I am the way I am, why my family is the way they are, and how that whole experience shaped me. Then after college, I got my first job pertaining to what I do, my degree. And it was a nonprofit working with parents who have children, and it was usually low income, single parent household, single mothers with children who are looking for daycare. And the ages we provided was 2.9 to 5. And I liked what I did. I loved the children. I freaking adored them. I liked the parents, some more than others. And I even liked the teachers that I worked with. I just couldn't stand the supervisor. I couldn't stand the hierarchy, because it's funny how a lot of people could tell you what to do and how to do it, but they just aren't consistent with it. Also, they're not on the ground working with these people. Like, you had to deal with homeless mothers, and you had to deal with people who didn't have enough clothing and didn't have enough food and were going through other personal things, maybe drug addicts. There's a lot of things that you had to do, and you had to be, they call it a family advocate, but basically a case manager for 36 families. So that's a lot on your plate. And I digested it, but it was just like there was no gratitude, there's no appreciation, and that wears down on your body. So I left that job, and then I got another job which I enjoyed. It had nothing to do with the previous job. It had nothing was similar. I was working actually in housing. The whole Section 8 and was it Section 8 and public housing. Yeah. And I actually liked what I did. I actually liked the tenants because there were some Haitian tenants who didn't speak the language, and I was able to translate for them, especially the older folks, because they were older. They really came to this country to, live their last few years of their lives in peace. And there was one woman, she was like, "Oh, thank you for translating this notice. You're like an angel. You're like an angel from above." And my ego wasn't huge. I was like, you know what? That's just my job. I would have done it regardless whether it's my job or not. But she was so grateful. I like that job because a lot of people were grateful. It was a temporary position, and it was cool. I wasn't really bugged about it. I had the opportunities to advance and become a full time position. But what I noticed is that when you are a young person, and this is around the time where, not even this time, but before that, the job with the nonprofit, that's when I decided that I want to write a book on my life. I noticed that when you're young and you're ambitious and you have no responsibilities and the world is literally at your feet, older people, especially older women, regardless of race, if they are not fulfilled in their lives, they will find a way to bring you down. And I noticed it with that job. And when you work for a job, there's bound to be some type of drama. That's why you should always keep your head low. Don't talk to nobody. Don't be making no kiki jokes. Don't be hanging around. You here to do your 9 to 5, punch in, punch out, boom. Don't be on some let's be friends type. It's me. I've never had that. Any job I had, we were cool inside the work environment. Outside the environment, we did not need to exchange numbers. It wasn't anything personal. It's just I'm here to do my job, collect my checks, and listen to Shabba Ranks. But with one particular woman, she always had some type of gripe that I was focused on writing. Even when there wasn't much to do, she always found it like an issue. And because she has seniority over me, a seniority over who was technically the supervisor, who was above her, I was kind of blackballed out of the whole organization. Which, to be honest, I wasn't really that messed up about it, because I had dreams, I have goals, I have aspirations. Like, this thing was temporary. Wasn't trying to build my life. I wasn't trying to give 20 years of my life to a job in hopes that when I get old, I can sip tea and rock on my rocking chair, thinking about all the years that I wasted at a job, and be comfortable enough to know that my retirement won't stop. And if it does stop, well, I get my little social security checks. Like, my life amounted to social security checks and retirement fund. So I wasn't really pressed about it. But I was writing this blog. I just realized that, I did so many things just to prove my worth, but I never really took the time out to enjoy life. Like I would purposely not go out and not do things because I felt like I didn't necessarily deserve it because I had to continue to prove. And I realized maybe at 21, like I really had nothing to prove to anybody because I was doing me because only I can hold me down and only I know myself and know the purpose of why I'm doing the things that I am doing. And I didn't need anybody else's validation because let's be honest, Selling May is still blowing up my phone and nobody putting no payments on my Selling May bill. So who the fuck are you for me to be proving myself to? And So last Sunday was one of the only few times where I went out and I enjoyed myself and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I went to a poetry slam not too far from where I live. It was a nice event. I went with this woman that I met at a Black Expo, a Boston Black Expo, I believe, in January, February. We exchanged numbers, but we actually found time to actually connect and talk and relate. And it was good. It wasn't no like twerk fest. It wasn't loud music. It wasn't money in the air. We wasn't shit faced it. It was nothing like that. And to be honest, it's just not my stilo. That's not my style. I don't do that. Not knocking anybody who does that, but I don't do that. And I realized that in a long time, I purposely just neglected life and chose not to enjoy life because of things that were real irrelevant, non-factors barred me from actually doing what I wanted to do. Now, I've always had on my list of things to do is to bungee jump. I've always wanted to do that since I was like 21 and I've never done it. And it's just not that, the other things that I've wanted to do, but I just didn't do it. And it was because I psychologically put that barrier on myself. And if it wasn't for college, it was my book. My book turned into, okay, well, I can't do this because my book, and I have to do this, and it's my book. And I shaped my whole existence for 2.5 years around my book. Everything revolved around my book. It became like, oh, I really can't do X, Y, and Z because my book, and I have to do my book first, and this and that. And when you are an artist, whether it's painting, whether it's music, whether it's literature, you're giving birth to an idea, you're giving birth to material. And that does take a lot of your time, especially if you're really interested and you're really invested in it. You're trying to manifest it into an existence. It takes a lot of your time. But you also have to realize that life is a continuation. It doesn't stop for anything or anybody. And just because you have this idea and it, as wonderful as you think it is, and it probably is, it's okay to take a time out. It's okay to breathe. Like you don't have to make this your life. Because with me, my memoirs, I'm going back into the past. The past is the past. You can never relive the past. And the future is the future. You don't know what it holds. But in the present, right now, you can enjoy it to the fullest. And nothing is going to be held against you. And you shouldn't hold yourself somewhat accountable or have some type of angst because you want to do fun things. And it's okay to do fun things, I guess. What I was trying to tell myself. And I enjoy that. I enjoy letting myself do things that I want to do. Actually enjoy life, experience life, be there, see it, hear it, smell it, taste it. I was there. Like I want that experience. And I don't feel like there's anything wrong. Like it's not like I'm gonna go out every single day and somehow Memoirs of Forgotten Child falls to the wayside. That's never gonna happen. But it's okay if you take a break from editing and you go out for a couple of drinks. You take a break from reorganizing different paragraphs and you go out and do a poetry slam or go out and go clubbing or go out and tour or go out and whatever. Like experience life. And this is more so for older people, or I guess the typical people of my generation who is just not like out there and doing crazy shit. It's kind of like you box yourself into, you have to either do crazy shit or be a cat lady. And there is a happy medium. Like, you don't all the way have to be ratchet, but you don't all the way have to be a Amish person. And that's not even a knock to Amish people, but you know, you will never be this young, and you will never be this beautiful, and you will never be this whatever. So enjoy it. Enjoy it, and don't hold yourself back or make yourself feel bad for enjoying it. So I guess I guess that's my video. I will add pictures to the event, and I will actually add videos because, like I said, it was a poetry slam. Part of me felt like I wanted to record these artists, but I felt like it was an invasion of privacy, because if you really wanted to see it, you would have paid and went. But not only that, if they wanted to be recorded, they would have said, record me. I felt like it was really a lot of intimate details and intimate thoughts, and who was I to expose that? Even if it's because I liked what they were doing, I felt like I should have gotten permission. I wouldn't just put somebody's business out there on blast, even if it is in an open forum like a club. But what I will do is add a video to this woman who took the mic and she sung her heart out. She kind of did a spoken word, but she put music to it, and it was a live band. It was really interesting. It was different from what I typically have experienced in the past. So, yeah, and that's my video. Comment, rate, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Have you ever been in that situation where you feel like you had to prove yourself to somebody, even if that somebody is you? And are you still in that process? And if that was you, what did you do about it? And do you actually take time to enjoy life? I mean, I know a couple of people like, oh, take a couple of breaths and, go out and have, an extra large Starbucks coffee. And that's supposed to somehow make you feel good or take a mental break. But I mean, honestly, do you take mental breaks where you're like, you did something that you typically don't do and you really enjoyed it, and it gave you life? Even if it was for like an hour, it gave you life. Do you do that, or do you not, and do you want to? And what do you think about bungee jumping? Do you think I'm crazy? Because I tell people that and they're like, why would you want to, like, who does that? No, black people don't bungee jump, but I've always wanted to do that, especially after I seen that Selena movie. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling to do that. But anyways, as always, be blessed, and I'm out.